Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 18 of the Formula Online Racing PlayStation 4 Championship, onto the final few rounds of the season now. And tonight we have the Mexican Grand Prix from the circuit Hermanos Rodriguez. Always provides fascinating action here, especially with that extremely long pit straight. And joining me once again for the action tonight is Jess. And as I've just said, Jess, that pit straight usually provides most of the overtaking around this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those tracks where the start-finish straight really is quite long as well. So potentially that is where we could see a lot of close moves tonight, and strategy can play an important factor as well. We may see a few people try and do a two-stop, but most likely it'll be a one-stop. But what I'm noticing at the moment, everyone's on the soft, but they may change their mediums. But that is very interesting. It may suggest a few things, but we're in Q1, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely full qualifying here at FOR, so there will be two drivers exiting in this session, and we know one of them will be YBR, as he does actually have a full qualifying ban, I believe, so he is allowed to set, and he is allowed to go out on an out lap just to make sure everything's fine with his setup, but he shouldn't do any more laps. Jonathan Cox also is banned from the second qualifying session after being involved in two separate incidents with both McLarens last time around. If you weren't with us last time around, it was another fantastic performance from Louis in the Red Bull. Powell win fastest lap. He seems almost unstoppable at the moment, but a bit of hope for some of the other drivers. Mexico is not really one of his favourite circuits.
No, it's not. I mean, in some leagues I've been watching in the past with Louis, he doesn't like it, mainly probably due to the fact that the lap times are a lot closer and there's not many places to overtake, and the DRS trains are a little bit too OP on this circuit, but Louis needs to pull out a miracle here if he wants to get another win. He could be the first person to get 3 wins in a row, which will be absolutely amazing, but you know, he's going to need help from his teammate Koala as well, who hopefully going to help with the toe, but there's not many places to get the toe, but potentially on one of the DRS straights, in particular on the back one, they could help each other there as well. So and Red Bull are actually doing well in the constructors as well. They are 3 points separating between Renault and Red Bull, so they've had big swing since Louis joined the league. So they were 5th place before Japan, and after Japan they are now in 2nd place. So brilliant showing from them guys, and they're not that far from actually overtaking Renault.
Yes, and Renault only have Vitinho reserving for them tonight, so that could really be a fantastic opportunity, especially with the way Louis has been driving. And Koala as well, he's been very consistent since he's joined the league, always in the points. They should probably close that gap tonight. On board now then with Paulie Orange, he comes through the S's, just coming out there at turn 11, down now towards the heavy braking zone for turn 12. You do see a lot of overtaking possibly into this stadium section. If you're brave enough, someone might do a lunge down into turn 13. It is one of the most popular sections of track in Formula 1 with the atmosphere through the old baseball stadium, flat out coming out of what was the Powell Tower, and a 1:14.597. All of qualifying is going to be dry, but is going to be a wet start to the race, and that could definitely spice things up. So you'd expect everyone in Q2 to just go for the soft tyres then.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I had a wet start to the race, unless Cody's may throw a spanner in the works and do a dry tyre wet start, to be honest. It was similar conditions that we've seen in Mexico tonight than what we've seen in Monza, my first FOR commentary. So it's light rain with damp, but it's not going to be that heavy tonight. But again, they're just going to hope that they are not going to use the soft for any part of the first part of the race. But yeah, if I was them, I'll go on the softs.
Yeah, indeed. So we've got Louis now. He's gone into second with a 1:15.146. On board with Dezo, who has said this will actually be his last league race on F1 2019 before he moves on to the new game, which will be coming out shortly. And he's definitely got a chance of getting a victory, especially if Lewis slips up. We know he's a very quick driver. Both races that he's finished so far, he's got a podium, getting 3rd last time from the last place on the grid.
Yeah, he has. And if you were watching last week, there was quite a few safety cars that changed everything, and that helped Desso with his strategy as well. And obviously, he's now on 33 points, and he's already beaten the likes of Koala and a few people that have been in the league for a long time as well. So very, very impressive. He wants to keep that momentum going, and surely with only a few rounds to go, this could be the chance where he can score higher than that, or even potentially keep up his podium form.
Yeah, he's just on a bit of a warm-up lap at the moment, 124.959, nearly a third of the way, well, nearly through the first third, I should say, of this qualifying session. Paulie Orange first, Ferhan second, Droftas third, so Mercedes going well, and Ferhan, he's been second both times to Louis, and both times in Q2 he's just snuck through on the medium tyres. I think it was 0.003 of a second last week was the gap that he just managed to get through to the final part of qualifying in Japan. So we know he's a quick driver. He'll be hoping to do it more comfortable this time around. Even if it is meant to be dry tyre start for the race, I'm sure he'll be sticking to the softs anyway in the next qualifying session to give him the best possible chance of starting in that top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I was really, I was not really that surprised that Ferhan did exactly the same thing as he did in Russia as well, but it was quite a closer margin, so I'm sure, to be honest, Ferhan definitely needs to start on a quicker tyre in Q2 to stand the best possible chance, and if he doesn't, then it's going to be a wake up because everybody else will be on the soft, so I think he's disappointed. Obviously, it's not going to be a dry start to the race, obviously, but you never know. He can turn the tide, and obviously, Louis said that it wasn't his favourite track. Maybe Ferhan can go one step better and win the race this time.
Yeah, he was less than a second last time out with Louis having a penalty and the late safety car. So, and if it's a similar situation like that again, could lead to a possible victory for the Mercedes driver. I was just watching Vitinho starting his hot lap, the only Renault driver tonight, and he is a reserve driver. With other reserves, we've got Glock in place of Thomas in the McLaren. We've got the legend, or as he was known, Cassie G, replacing Westy, and that might be a replacement for the rest of the season. So we'll have to see about that. Vitinho in this Renault that he's reserved a couple of times, yet to score many points, but he's definitely a driver that has got some solid pace, and he'll be hoping that he can pick up a few of the lower points tonight and maybe give Renault bit of a chance against the all-dominant Red Bull lately.
Yeah, but he's got a tough call. He's the only Renault that's going to potentially score points, and he needs to be given a wake-up call, really, to be honest. There's some races in other leagues where he hasn't been as clean, but honestly, Mexico can be quite punishing in terms of track limits, as we've seen quite a few times on this circuit with a few drivers, as Droftas is happy with his lap. But yeah, I think Vitinho is going to be very lucky if he gets into the top 10, but knowing that he's got a Constructors' Championship on the line to help with his team, then surely he's definitely going to be under the pressure. And what I like about his helmet, he's got a Brazilian helmet as well on his head, so that's great to see that he's repping the Brazilians here tonight.
Yeah, it really suits with that Renault colour scheme as well, I must say. That helmet
was
looking a good lap. He just got a bit of oversteer coming into the stadium section, so 8th position at the moment. Not too surprised Droftas has retired on a 1:15.0, as there is only going to be one car going out on pace at the moment. Obviously with YBR retiring, if anyone else crashes, that could well put them at the bottom of the leaderboard, especially out of all these drivers who haven't set a time. One of those is Silent Ace with his Alonso inspired helmet. He dives into the pits, invalidating that lap. McLaren, they had a bit of a struggle last time, and Alan, he was one of them. He was involved in that incident with Jonathan Cox, ended up finishing in 13th, but that's a shame for him because he always seems to be in and around the points. A very consistent driver. He'd admit it himself, not necessarily the fastest, but if he can avoid incidents, he generally ends up in the points.
Yeah, he got very lucky last week. It was a bit of a shame, but he's a person that likes to keep his no cleans at the best of times, and it must have been frustrating that Jonathan Cox ruined the party for him. But, you know, he's in 9th place for now, which is pretty good, and obviously anyone from the 10th or above score points, as well as the fastest lap from pretty much any part of the grid, because obviously in FOR, it doesn't matter where you are, whoever set the fastest lap gets the extra points. So Ayan is hoping that he's going to get that fast lap point today, as well as a few other drivers, as well as there's more than it's going to be dry at the end, so quite a few people might just get on the soft tyres at the end to just snatch that, and that's going to make things interesting if you're like lower down the field and you want to get an extra point.
Yeah, definitely. That you can see that happen quite a lot of the time. So Koala, then he's just about to go on to his first hot lap, taking a bit of a too much curve perhaps through that chicane. The game letting him get away with it, so that'll be all good for him. Down in 15 for the moment. It's only him and Silent Ace yet to set time in this session with 7 minutes 20 remaining. And I do like this Mexico circuit, I must say, since its return to Formula 1 in 2015. Pretty much the entire first sector, thanks to those 2 DRS zones, you can see overtakes starting in turn 1, really not getting completed until turn 6, or even the run down to this S's section at turn 7.
Yeah, that's why I like this track pretty much as well. And there's other tracks where DRS zones follow after each other, like Germany is one of them. That's quite tricky as well, and that's why it's pretty good as well. And we've seen quite a few times where tile deciders as well can happen. But obviously we can't have a tile decider tonight. It's none of the 2 championship or the top 2 are in this lobby tonight. But there's one driver that's in this lobby, Paulie Orange. He could definitely benefit from a good result tonight if he can get a good finish. Then he could possibly close the gap to the top 2 and possibly get back on the championship charge. He can even get ahead of Westy as well.
Yeah, if Paulie Orange wins tonight, and that would be his first win since Monaco, and what was his only second race in the league, he would get the championship lead. But that's the only way he can take that championship lead tonight. I think he'll just be happy with getting on the podium, to be honest. They seem to have dried up a bit lately. The last 2 races he's yet failed to finish on the podium, which is amazingly. No, sorry, not even more than that. Last time he finished on the podium was Austria, so he could really do with getting up there. It was actually Westy who's last got on the podium in Singapore, so apologies for that. But Paulie Orange would be hoping that he can finish near the top, and it's looking good at the moment. 1:14.597, but that was on the soft tyres. Louis with that 1:14.879, fastest on the medium, so wouldn't be surprised to see any of those top 5 drivers, perhaps even down to Andengen legend, retire, but we'll have to wait and see. 5 minutes to go. Glock, we know he's a quick driver. When he was started at the start of the season, had to pull out, and he's made a couple of reserve appearances in F1 and in F2 before that season finished a couple of weeks ago. He's invalidated his lap again, and you do get that a bit through the S's. It's very easy to just take too much curve, and that can easily finish your lap time, and he's not really set a representative lap yet with 5 minutes to go. Him and Silent Ace are going to start looking over their shoulders.
Yeah, they are, because obviously RBR's out, and basically if Glock doesn't set a representative lap time soon, he's not going to have enough time maybe, so potentially he could be a big upset to lose out on qualifying. And obviously the McLaren need all the work tonight, obviously in the standings. They're 5th in the standings now, and obviously the midfield bunch in the constructors are looking very close between obviously Haas, McLaren and Mercedes too, so they don't want to drop down too much, because otherwise the likes of Verhan and Droftas could say thank you very much. That moves them up a place in a potential constructors battle, and we like midfield constructors battles obviously as well. And speaking of also about one shot, you really got to make sure that you basically, if you think you've done enough, don't go out again, just go in the pits, because if you crash out, then that's your qualifying done. Even though if you set a competitive lap time, that will get you through to Q2. If your car's damaged, then that's it, no running for you until pretty much the race. So that's why a few drivers have got to make sure that they know that they could go faster and not make any mistakes.
Yeah, definitely, and especially after what happened to Silent Ace last time out, where his AI decided to find the barriers in Japan, and that robbed him of any chance of taking part in Q2. It's perhaps not surprising to see the Ferrari head into the pits. 1:15.036 so far should be enough to get him through to the next session. It's Glock who's looking risky down there at the moment, but Hibelu, you've got to say he'll be under pressure with 7 attempts to find Vitinho, and Glock yet to set a consistent lap time. Alan and Vitinho, infamous pillars. I think everyone else above them should be safe in this session with 3 minutes to go, but we'll have to wait and see. On board with the McLaren now of Alan, currently in 13th position. Let's see what he can do as he comes through the S's. Can he keep it clean and avoid just running too wide coming out of here at turn 11? And there you go, you run wide, lap invalidated straight away, and he's already done one lap on those tyres. He might not have any more grip to get around and set another time, so that could well be it for Alan's qualifying session if we see a few more improvements from those behind him.
Yeah, Vitinho looking to be very quick as well. He's only a few tenths slower than Aiden, and Hibilu about a second. Hibilu needs a bit of more of a miracle to make sure he can secure his spot. But yeah, and McLaren's all look to be pretty wide in this qualifying session at the moment. And to be honest, they're going to hope that they're not going to use the tyres towards the end if they have damage in the race. For Q1 it does not matter, but for Q2 they've got to make sure they have enough soft tyres to last for the session, because otherwise that's their chance of actually getting pole over or even getting into Q3. So, you know, it's a tough balance to follow for some of these guys, but, you know, something to watch out for there, as I think Glock is going out for one final time. So I'm guessing he's just got to make sure that he can get a lap that will send him straight through maybe. So hopefully he won't invalidate.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be able to keep it clean. Vitinho has done that so far. A lot less oversteer this time around than he got the previous time. Koala goes fastest on them soft tyres, and Vitinho moves up into 11th position. That should be enough. Loney's gone out again on the medium tyres, so that could be interesting if there's a few big improvements from those behind him. Hibilu, he's on an outlap. He'll have enough time to get around. Go on board with Glock. Unsurprisingly, he's going a lot faster than his personal best at the moment, but he's just got to keep it clean, and he's just leaving a bit spare there. Paulie Orange, he's retired in the pits. Can't really blame him, as has Dezo. They should be easily safe. So as long as Glock can keep it off the curves too much through these final few corners, he'll probably knock Hibilu down into 15th and maybe put his teammate in trouble as well. Here we go, coming around the final corner now for Glock, and there you go, comfortable in the end. 114.700. Gotta say, Hibilu needs to find a huge improvement, otherwise the Toro Rosso driver will be heading out. And there he goes across the line, 115.818, and he doesn't look like he's really going for it this time around. That could well be the top 15 sorted for this session.
Yeah, I think so as well. Glock, what an amazing lap there. He was very lucky to set that lap time. It's kind of like a one-shot qualifier for him, and he did it with no pressure at all. You know what? He didn't care if he invalidated the last few laps. He wanted to make a statement that he can set a lap time no matter how many minutes to go. So, well done to him, and he did it when it counted, and that's put him in P3 in Q1. And yeah, that's pretty much it, as everyone is either finishing their laps or retiring. So Hibilu and obviously YBR is out of this qualifying session, and that just leaves the top 15 to fight it out for the top 10 for Q3.
Yeah, and I think Infamous Pillars has just realised that he is safe, slowing down in the Ferrari, and after both Ferraris were not taking any further part in qualifying after Q1 last time around, they'll be happy to get themselves both through to the next part in 9th and 14th at the moment. Great lap from Koala to get fastest, to Paulie Orange second, Glock in third, both racing points up there as well in 4th and 5th, so we might be able to see what Deso can do from the front of the grid if he keeps up with that. But Hibilu and YBR were the two knocked out in that session. And if we just change to what tyres those were set in, there we go, Louis on the well, he's just settled up on the soft tyres, 113.385. That is what's known as laying the marker down yet again. And a Red Bull 1-2 here in Mexico in the first part of qualifying.
Well, if Louis didn't set a lap like that in the first part of qualifying, then we'll be pretty much shocked, to be honest. But he didn't have to do that, but he wanted to pressurise all the other drivers as well. So if he could set that in the remaining two sessions, then he's going to be favourite to potentially go against all odds and win on his least favourite circuit.
Yeah, especially at one bit, he was a bit worried he might have to miss qualifying. I think a few drivers wish he had have missed qualifying. He's fastest in that session. Respectable performance, as I said, from both racing points for two drivers getting knocked out then. Hibilu missing out by just over a quarter of a second, and YBR with that qualifying ban. And although I said both racing points did respectable in Q1 with 5th and 6th place, Jonathan Cox does have a qualifying ban, so him and 4 other drivers will be going out in this next 15-minute qualifying session. And if, and it is a big if, it is dry for the start of the race, for tyres that the top 10 set their fastest lap on in this session will determine the tyres that they start on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, of course. And Jonathan Cox getting the qualifying ban done nice and early. As soon as he got into the session, he retired. So no problems there as well. So at least he gets free choice of tyres, of course. But there are a few names that I'm picking out that could be in potential danger. Obviously, Aylin as well. He narrowly got through to Q2 as well. Lonely as well. And Silent Ace, potentially an Infamous Pillars as well, could be the ones that could be under threat as well. So a few people to watch out for. And obviously Legend as well, Cassie G. Obviously he's a Cassie G now, he's changed his gamer tag. So yeah, they've got to make sure to pull out a miracle if they want to get through. But knowing them, they're going to pull out all the stops. There's obviously a lot of people are now going out of the pit, ready to start, 40 minutes worth of qualifying action. Will Louis go faster than this Q1 session? Because the delta is so much different once you go into different qualifying sessions. So he'll be potentially faster in Q3, not potentially Q2. But no matter what, if Louis sets a 114 or 113, he's definitely going to be safe.
Yeah, definitely. 113.3 in the last session. And the tyres should be in better shape this time around in the final sector at least, especially the softs, as it does look to be a bit more overcast. Now the Mexico Grand Prix circuit here, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, one of the highest circuits I imagine in the world, altitude well over 2,000 meters, so you do get the cars running lots of downforce here just to get that downforce that they need, because the air is a lot thinner, but you still get extremely fast top speeds on the main straight, probably even faster than Monza, which has always been known as the Temple of Speed. We have got a mixture of tyres here. Most have gone out on the softs, Droftas and Glock on the mediums, and Poorly Orange going for the hards. That is an interesting tactic. I imagine he's just doing that to get a bit used to the conditions in this session before changing to the mediums or the softs later on.
Yeah, I think so as well, because I thought you would go on a medium, so I'm a bit shocked on Poorly Orange's choice, but you know, you don't want to take your risk too much. But my concern for Poorly Orange is he may not have enough chance to set a lap on the softs, and obviously it's hard to validate your lap around here, so he's going to hope that he doesn't invalidate, because obviously the conditions will be a lot trickier than the first part of qualifying. So he just wants to make sure we can get it fully planted on the track, know when to extend a little bit, 'cause you can extend on some bits of the track, and when not to extend, obviously, as he's already struggling just a little bit on those hard tyres. But hopefully he won't make those mistakes when he goes on his soft one later, because otherwise that'll be him out of qualifying, as Andenge is the first person to set a lap time with a 1:15.036. We also got a Mercedes, I believe, that's about to start a lap or finishing a lap, and Silent Ace, I believe, is about to start one as well, as Deso 1:14.4 on the Racing Point. That is a pretty good lap time. Surely that'll be enough to get him to Q3.
Yeah, I think that will be enough, and Denge, I imagine, is going to have to go out again. I think anything 1:14.7, 1:14.8, that is going to stand you in good stead going into the final qualifying session. Infamous Pillars there, just going too deep into turn 7, and that is going to cost you so much momentum throughout the rest of the S's, so this is not going to be a representative lap from the Ferrari driver. Still yet to score a point in FOR, but there's a bit of rain tonight and a few accidents can easily happen. It can get very tight around that hairpin section that you can see at the bottom of the track map, turn 4 to turn 6. You might just pick up a point tonight, you never know. He goes in third at the moment on a 1:15.795. His teammate on a lap as well, keeping it much cleaner through the S's. And Ferrari will be hoping for a good performance tonight, because they are still rooted at the bottom of the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, 111 points compared to Toro Rosso's 110. So 1 point difference, and obviously a 10-point difference to Alfa Romeo as well. So these teams have definitely got to step up their game tonight, with Andenge being the only sole representative of Alfa Romeo in Q2, whereas they've got both Ferraris into Q2, obviously, and also we got one Renault, obviously we got two of the McLarens, and we got two of the Mercedes and two Red Bulls as well, so they may help each other in Q2, as well as Silent Ace. He's in third place for the 149, so he probably may need to go out again if he wants to stay safe, of course, but that is not a bad lap from him as well. We've still got the likes of Louis and Furhan and Koala yet to set a lap time, and also the potential people in danger, Vitinho and Aylin, also to set a lap time.
Yeah, indeed. We didn't get to see what Andenge could do last time out, as he had connection issues, but he's definitely a quick driver, so we'll have to see whether he can improve and get himself up into the top 10. Furhan, this time around, unsurprisingly, on the soft tyres, not even entertaining the mediums. The Glock has done the time on the mediums so far, and that is a 1:15.778. That's fastest out of anyone on the medium tyres so far, but I'd imagine everyone, apart from perhaps Louis, will have to go on the softs to get through to the next qualifying session. So we'll get to see what Furhan can do here. And again, he's a bit deep into the start of those S's. Compromises your line through the rest of them. Keeping it nice and clean though. Perhaps going a bit safe on the final corner just to make sure he doesn't invalidate his lap time and he can push a bit harder on his next lap. Braking hard then for this twisty, tight stadium section. The old Peril Tower around the outside. Not allowed on the new F1 circuit for safety reasons. It was a fearsome corner, and you can see there Furhan 1:14.035 and taking that inside line around the final corner that we haven't seen too many drivers do to that extent, but it can definitely save you a couple of tenths.
Yeah, that was an amazing lap time there as well. Last week he barely missed out on he basically barely made it into Q3, so he only made it by 3 thousandths. I think he's going to be very comfortable. And Louis just invalidated his lap time, so he'll have to go again.
Yeah, I was just about to see what sort of time Louis could do. He's wiped out a bollard as well in frustration, and there's it go, races it down the pit lane before the marshals somehow vaporised it, which is very impressive, I must say. He's one of 6 drivers so far not to set a time. We knew Jonathan Cox wouldn't, but himself, Koala, Vitinho, Aylin and Loney might need to get a bit of a move on here if they want to avoid going out. And here we go, Paulie Orange. Now he's on the medium tyres, so this should find him enough time to perhaps get up to Droftas, but he'd still have to be a mighty lap to get him through to Q3, sorry, on these mediums.
Yeah, as do a few other people as well on the mediums. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble, I must say, but probably thinking of what happened in Monza, and they want to play their cards right. But yeah, I mean, I know Glock was on the mediums, but then he realised he can't go fast on the mediums, so he's on the softs. But yeah, Droftas, he's got his work cut out, I must say, if he wants to make it through. I mean, he's got to be on the softs to stand a chance, which he is. Paulie Orange as well. I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough, but I'm a bit worried if they don't set a lap time which is faster than their medium time, because that will definitely get them out. But with 6 minutes to go, if Paulie Orange wants to get a podium, he needs to get a lap time which is a lot faster than that.
Yeah, definitely. He is improving at the moment, but I think it's only going to put him up and around where Droftas was on the medium tyres. There we go, 1:15.725. So that's the quickest medium run we've seen so far in this session, but that time is roughly about what Hibilu set last time around, so it's not going to be anywhere near what is required to get through to the next qualifying session. Vitinho, he's out on the softs, coming through to turn 7 at the moment. The sole Renault, we've said it before a few races ago, Renault were looking very comfortable in the Constructors' Championship, and it's sort of amazing how a few bad results, a few absences, things can change very easily. Going hard into the hairpin, into the stadium, he does seem to attack that corner harder than a few of the other drivers I've seen, but it's worked for him that time around. Is this going to be good enough to get him through to the next part of qualifying on his first and possibly only attempt? 1:15.211. I think he might need a bit more than that. Furhan Desso, unsurprisingly, feeling pretty confident as well. And Koala, Silent Ace and Andenge, I think they might just have to go out again.
Yeah, I think so as well. Koala hasn't even set it up yet, so he should be a little bit worried as well. But I'm quite surprised that the Red Bulls haven't been helping each other in this qualifying session. But I'm guessing they want to do a little bit on their own this race and see what they can do. And they're probably pretty confident in getting into Q3, so they're going to probably help each other then. But if one of them is near the drop zone, then probably they've got to do their best to have a little bit of a teamwork orders potentially happening there as well. As Paulie Orange goes into the pits then, hopefully that should leave enough time for him to go on some new soft tyres to hopefully set a lap time which will be competitive to get into Q3 of course. Louis on a lap time which hopefully is going to be validated this time. He hasn't got long to do it, and if he invalidates this lap, that doesn't leave him enough time to go into the pits. So this could be a huge upset if he makes a mistake here, but he seems to be alright going into these next couple of corners, and he's smashing the purple sector 2 already, so he's definitely laying out a marker here in this Q2 session. Obviously he could beat Verhan's time. He could be in the 113s again. We'll have to wait and see as he comes through the final corner. He's not going to get any slipstream from anyone. So, and he's not going to take the shortest line in either. 113.625. Yeah, that's definitely going to be safe for Louis in the Red Bull.
Yeah, definitely. Interestingly, how both himself and his teammate Koala are actually slower than the times that they managed in Q1. So perhaps the track evolution not working as we would have expected. Glock, he's happy with his time. I think Droftas will be as well. 114.612. So I think both Mercedes and both Red Bulls looking safe at the moment. It's Legend, Silent Ace, and Denge and Vitinho who might be looking over their shoulders, especially given how Alan and Loney have yet to set a lap time. We could expect them to be in and around the times that we've seen from those in the lower part of the top 10 at the moment. 3 minutes 16 remaining, so it's going to get a bit more tense now. We've only got a few cars out on circuit. One of them is Paulie Orange, who's giving it a third run. He's tried all 3 tyres in this session, so at least he's got a bit more practice for the race. Who knows, maybe if he sets the time fast enough here, if he's got enough time, he might pop out, give the intermediates a run, see what they're like.
Yeah, not quite in these conditions, I must say, but yeah, we've seen that in other tracks where if it was going to rain at the start, they were going on the inters and giving them a feel. I think it's important to as well, because then you'll know what you're going to be experiencing come the race. So but obviously not in these types of conditions, but yeah, everyone's on the soft compounder tyres, no one's on the mediums. They mean business. They're going to hope that they're not going to start on the softs in the wet part of qualifying, which in the race, I mean. So that's going to be intriguing. But yeah, we haven't seen what Paulie Orange could do properly yet. We know he can go faster than the 1:15.7. Obviously, because he set his best time on the medium, so maybe he can go potentially a second quicker as well. So yeah, Vitinho and Denge, Silent Ace could be in danger. Lonely as well. Obviously, Jonathan Cox, we already know that he's out of qualifying due to his Q2 ban as well, and we've got a few Q3 bans, but there was one driver that's not here tonight, so he won't be serving it, of course. So that will leave 10 drivers competing for the ultimate crown of pole position. At the moment, it's looking like to be Louis or Verhan's in the taking at the moment.
Yeah, they've been the fastest 2 drivers at the last 2 rounds, and it could easily be the same again tonight. I imagine Paulie Orange, as long as he keeps it clean, will find enough, because he was on a similar time on the mediums to what Droftas did, and the Mercedes there up into what was 5th place. Now Loney has gone into 5th on a 1:14.5. Droftas, Koala have gone out again. I'm surprised, because I thought they'd be pretty comfortable with that time. So with 1:15 remaining there, clearly not feeling safe at the moment. And Denge then in the Alfa Romeo, the sole Alfa Romeo, what can he do at the moment? He's on the bubble. Can he improve and get into the 1:14s? Yes, he can. A 1:14.657, and that should be enough. I feel Legend or Cassie G, he's always in and around the top 10. He's always showing good pace in the Williams. He might be looking over his shoulder now as well. Silent Ace, especially given the fact that Paulie Orange has yet to set a time on the soft tyres. What is he going to do? The Haas driver does indeed go up into 9th position.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably why Koala and Droftas are gone again, because look at the gap between obviously 6th place and 9th. It's a few tenths of a second, so maybe they are in danger as well, potentially of going out of qualifying. And we haven't seen what Aiden could do as well. And we're seeing the tow already happening for the two Red Bulls. So Louis knows he's safe, but he doesn't want his teammates to go out of the session. So kind person he is, he's helping him getting a little bit of a tow. So yeah, I think Koala could thank Louis later if he gets through.
Yeah, and Legend up into 9th place with a small improvement. That put Paulie Orange on the bubble. Silent Ace has invalidated his time, as has Infamous Pillar. So that's both Ferraris going out and Vitinho not able to improve as well. He is in 12th position, so it's only Alan who is going out for another run on the McLaren. He must have invalidated his last lap early on, or just gone for that second warm-up lap that we see a few of the drivers doing, but he's down in the first sector on his previous best. So Paulie Orange might just about sneak through here on that 1:14.7, and I think that's the first time ever I've predicted anywhere near what the cut-off time might be in one of these sessions. So we'll see what Alan can do. We've got Koala further up ahead. He's finding some big improvements here. Can he make it a Red Bull 1-2 for the second qualifying session in a row here in Mexico? Koala now heading towards the finish line. He gets into the 1:13s, 1:13.8. Could we even see a Red Bull 1-2 in the race? They are looking very feisty indeed. Alan is improving as you would expect. What's he going to do though as he heads towards the line? Not good enough for him to get through. It's only 13th for him. So the big news, Red Bull's fast once again. Both Ferraris heading out, and Paulie Orange, highest person in the championship who is in this race, sneaking through by just under 0.2 of a second.
That is very, very close from Paulie Orange. Not as close as Furhan's last week, I must say. But yeah, unfortunate for Silent, the two Ferraris, and Vitinho and Alan as well. But good news for one McLaren. Glock has made it as well. So I think that's something for Zach Brown to be happy about. At least one of the McLaren drivers is making it into Q3. And McLaren need a little bit of a luck if they want to get ahead of Haas and Williams in the Constructors' Championship. So Glock, I think Glock is probably going to give everyone else a run of the money and probably do a science and be best of the rest, potentially.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The Red Bulls 1-2 then again in that session. Furhan in third. Both Mercedes getting through with Roftas in 7th, but the Ferrari of Silent Ace is out alongside Renault, Vitinho, Alan in the McLaren. Infamous Pillars also in the Ferrari, and Jonathan Cox, obviously with that qualifying ban. Will he be able to fight through the field from 15th? We won't be long to see what the order of the rest of the field is going to be, with the final 12 minutes of qualifying coming through. And can you see anyone, Jess, interrupting that Red Bull 1-2?
Oh, it's going to be close between Koala and Furhan, I must say. But if the 1-2 has got to happen, then teamwork has got to play into effect like they did in Q2. Because otherwise, they're not even going to be close, because that tow that they got in the start-finish straight that Louis gave to Koala definitely made a massive difference. But to be honest, I was watching his Koala's lap, and it was pretty decent. I think Louis must have given Koala a little bit of tips or something, or maybe Christian Horner has as well, potentially. But yeah, I'm quite shocked at the moment that he's doing quite well. But you know, if they want to win the Constructors, they have a good chance tonight with obviously Vitinho, the only Renault, only going down, missing out on Q2. So no Renaults in the top 10 for the first time in a while. So this could be a good chance for Red Bull. And obviously you've got one Williams in now of Cassie G, of course, who can mess with Renault's shadow potentially as well. So yeah, it's pretty good showing for Mercedes and Red Bull. It looks like those two are the only teams to have way for their cars, make it into Q3.
Yeah, and that could be crucial here. As you said, Jess, two Red Bulls towing each other could help them to a 1-2, but Furhan is going to have some help off Roftas, I am sure, and vice versa. At the moment, only one Red Bull has gone out, and that is Louis. So that suggests to me he might be giving Koala the tow first time around, and there's only one Mercedes out as well, so maybe Roftas will end up giving Furhan the tow. Although, as I say that, Furhan has started heading out of the pit lane. And you've done a lot more league racing than me, Jess, especially on the F1 games. Just how important is it to have a good working relationship with your teammate?
It definitely is important, to be honest, because you need to know when you are doing your lap, because obviously if there's traffic alongside you, it's going to be a lot difficult, and if you go out roughly at the same time, one of you will probably get held up potentially, especially if it goes towards the end, and in particular the race as well, you can't afford to pit roughly at the same time because double stacking doesn't quite work on this game. So unless your teammate's way in front of you, then potentially you got to think maybe to pit a lap later as well. But they can also help you on strategy as well. They can help you on ERS management as well, and and if you have a bad working relationship with your teammate, it may cost you in the constructors as well. And I've seen this in other leagues where if you go in with a teammate that you don't get along so well, and it's not gonna help you in any way, shape or form. So yeah, I think it's very important that you have good communication, just like between Mercedes and two Red Bulls have been doing this season.
Yeah, definitely. We've definitely seen evidence of the two Mercedes not working well together, and McLaren Mercedes as well, and Denge invalidating his first lap, so that's going to ruin any chances he had of getting a good time in early on. And there we go, Koala was ahead of Lewis. I'm not sure if any toe was actually given there at the moment, maybe next time around, but I don't think Louis will have enough. In fact, Koala there just pulls out of the way, so I think we're going to see the first bit of teamwork from the two Red Bulls. What time could Louis set? To 1:13.722. He's definitely going to be able to find a bit more time next time around, and there you can see the toe in full effect with Koala right in the slipstream of his teammate, reaching about 214 miles per hour there, so we're talking 343 kilometers an hour. But Koala is invalidated already. Glock is gone into second, but quickly beaten by Droftas. And I must say, I've been very impressed by how Droftas' qualifying form has come on of late. He's been a bit of his Achilles heel. Even when some of these faster guys weren't in the league a few races ago, he struggled to make it through into Q3, and now look at him, second at the moment.
Yeah, that's pretty decent, I think. I've got to say, and to be honest, in a long season like FOR, of course, it's a lot easy to see the progression of people in this league, because you can only get better and better, really. And I've already seen Droftas improve quite a lot in this season. He's got 88 points. He got a point last time about, and obviously he DNF'd in Russia, which was a bit of a shame, but he's looking to carry on this point streak. But I'm sure he could get higher than 10th place, I must say, this time about as well. I need to actually remember how many points he scored in Monza. He only got P13 in Monza, which is going to be similar conditions to what we're seeing tonight. So maybe he's had a bit of practicing, potentially he's got a few things on his mind, and hopefully he'll forget the mistakes he's made at Monza and concentrate on tonight as he goes into the pits then. With 7 minutes to go, I think everyone is as well, apart from Andenge and Desso, who are going on their outlap at the moment.
Yeah, Furhan's on another flying lap after clearly invalidating his first one. Koala decided to go back into the pit, so let's see what Furhan can do. Can he get up near his teammate? You'd expect him to be quicker than Droftas, and indeed he is. 1:14.1, just outside that magical 1:13s. That puts him in second place. You've got to say the Brackley team looking pretty good at the moment in this qualifying session in second and third. We've got just over half the session to go, and it is Red Bull first, Mercedes second and third at the moment, but still a few drivers yet to set a time, and Denge giving it his second try after invalidating last time around.
Yep, indeed. Not long to go until the end of qualifying, so they need to get a move on these two as well. But for some of these guys, like Andenge and Desso, they're probably happy that they've made it to Q3. So, to be honest, for some of these guys, they just want to get a lap in, and there we go. But I think for them, the most crucial thing is if they beat their personal best as well, because if you know your qualifying is not going to be up to par, and you know you're probably not going to get pole, then you're going to concentrate on improving yourself, because that's why some people have signed up to these leagues to get better at their racecraft as well. But for some people, they want to win, so the more that they improve each season, eventually they probably will be starting to fight for podiums and potentially race wins in the future. But for some of these guys, it will take a bit longer, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see indeed. And Denji got a few wins in F2, so we know he's a quick driver, even if things haven't fully gone to plan for him in F1 with only a couple of podiums. His last one in Hungary, where it did rain towards the end of the race. So maybe we could see a good performance from the Alfa Romeo driver tonight, and he goes into 4th place at the moment. Desso, though, up into 3rd in the racing point. He was very clean fighting through the field last time around. Personally, I think he might have been my driver of the day, coming from the back of the grid to sneak a podium. He might be able to do it from the front of the grid. Could we see Racing Point take a victory tonight? I mean, they've definitely had some fast drivers throughout the season. 4 minutes 45 remaining. Koala and Loney still yet to set a lap time, but it is Louis first, Verhan second, and Desso third. And you can see Koala there just trying to get out of the way of his teammate. I think he's going to try and get a bit of a toe here off Louis, even though Louis is going out, I believe, on his flying lap as well.
That's going to be intense, because if they're both on an out lap, someone has got to give. And I thought it'll be Louis that's got to give, but knowing he's got a 1:13.7 and Koala hasn't set a lap time yet, Louis, I think, is potentially going to compromise his lap and help Koala, which he does as well. I thought it would have been a lot earlier, but he's done it at the right time to make sure Koala doesn't invalidate, of course, as he's going, I think, quicker than pretty much anyone in the first sector. I mean, he is flying there. Probably the shock tonight, I must say. Faster than even Louis in the first sector. So you never know. He may give his teammate a run for his money, but we've seen Louis go faster than 1:13.7. We've seen Louis get a faster time in Q1, and obviously Q3 as well. We'll probably see the fastest time evolve from Louis, like we've seen obviously in his first race back in Russia. So we haven't seen the best from Louis yet, obviously, but as Koala goes through the stadium section as well, and yet again he's going even quicker than Louis in sector 2, and he's invalidated.
Oh, I was about to say things could get a bit tense in the Red Bull garage if Koala goes faster than Louis, and that was definitely on the cards then, but he's only got 3 minutes to go. He will have enough time to go around and set another time, and Louis coming back into the pits as well. But I don't think Louis will be as willing to help Koala as he was last time around. Glock stays in 3rd. He's actually gone up to 3rd, I should say, in the McLaren. Just pipping Desso at the moment. Things getting pretty quiet out on track. Only one person has yet to set a time, and he's the only person currently on a hot lap. It is Loney in the Toro Rosso. What can this driver do? Didn't finish last time out in Japan. His highest finish so far was 6th in Italy, and as we've said a few times, that started in similar conditions to this, and he's looking pretty quick at the moment, but just not going for it. So I think he's one of these drivers that, again, is possibly going for a second warm-up lap.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, he's haven't got much ERS. Maybe he realised he was a lot slower than he was meant to be in the start of the sector, and I think he can get a little bit better potentially. We'll have to wait and see. But you know, I mean, he hasn't got. Well, to be honest, it's good that it's not short qualifying, because otherwise you have to start on those tyres if we see a similar situation to Italy right now, as Glock realised he can't go any faster in Q3, and he thinks that P3 would be the best. Desso invalidates his outlap, but he has a chance to go again. Of course, there's a few people moving out of the way of everybody, which is great to see, obviously, as well. Everyone is out on the circuit except Louis right now. As speaking of Louis, he goes out with I don't even know. I think it's going to be very close if he makes it or not, but he's going to be the last person to set a competitive lap time, but I don't think he's going to help Koala by any way, shape or imagination, so I don't think it's going to be a Red Bull 1-2. I think we could see Louis first and Verhan second, and maybe Droftas can sneak in a good lap as well if the teammates work together.
Well, they're at opposite parts of the track at the moment, and Verhan, he's just looking to see if he can improve, and he can. A 1:13.904. That could solidify a front row start for one of the Mercedes drivers. Desso is out on his another hot lap as well. He's got the Williams of Legend not too far behind, with Loney in between them. So Loney's kind of got himself in a bad position there. I think he was trying to let a few of these cars by. The dirty air won't affect him too much through the S's. Dirty air not as big a factor on the Codemasters F1 games as it is in real life, but you might just get a bit of a distant tow down this back straight, which is always helpful. Desso's improving on his personal best as well by about 1/4 of a second, and you can see how close that had put him to Furhan. Just gets a slide on though as he comes through turns 12 there, so that could affect things here, and that could stop the Pink Panther getting on the front row. Can Desso get into the 113s? He can, but just behind Furhan at the moment, and Loney, scratch what I said about him maybe getting compromised, he goes up into 3rd place, Legend in 6th. We haven't spoke about Loney getting there at the front as qualifying 3 is over, but that was a fantastic time.
He was purple sector 1. He looked very impressive, I must say, and he means business right now as Verhan's invalidated. He can't improve on a 113.9 as he retires from the session, so potentially the only ones that can improve are the 2 Red Bulls, which are on opposite. Well, they're on different parts of the circuit. Obviously, Louis will be the last person to cross the line. And I think we're getting a bit of a timing glitch at the moment as we've got, obviously the qualifying session is still over and people just crossed the line of going out again. So, and Droftas just invalidated as he's just finishing his lap time.
Yeah, indeed, so Droftas won't be able to improve. What can Koala do? Can he challenge towards the front? He's only 6th. I think he'll be disappointed with that with the pace he showed. And Denji invalidated. Poorly Orange then moves up into 6th. He'll be delighted with that, but it's perhaps unsurprising that Louis is fastest again, and that last lap was a 113.1, but it was invalidated. So the closest we've seen in qualifying for a bit, but it's 3 qualifying sessions, 3 pole positions for Louis in the Red Bull. Furhan's been his closest challenger in the races so far, and this time around is his closest qualifying challenger in 2nd, and could only spring a surprise from 3rd position, especially given the conditions in the race.
Yeah, and penalties, like I said, a big factor, and obviously Louis with his penalties in Japan almost costing him the race victory, so he's got to be a lot cleaner tonight if he wants to secure that race victory, and it's going to be tough in these wet conditions, especially on a track that he hates. So here's your running order for tonight for the top 10. So it's Louis on par with the 2 Germans occupying 2nd and 3rd. We've got Desso in 4th, Glock in 5th, Paulie Orange in 6th place. Koala, Louis' teammate, would have wanted to be higher up, potentially in 2nd or 3rd, but he's in 10th for now. Legend, Cassie G in 8th, Droftas in 9th, and Andenge, I think you'll still be pretty happy with 10th anyway, as we're about to get this race underway.
Yeah, indeed, it should be a fascinating race. 36 laps around this circuit, with conditions being less than ideal at the start of this race, possibly for the first 20 minutes. Should be dry though towards the end, so that's where things will really get excited. And you can see, I'd say it's definitely not raining hard enough for the wet tyres, but I don't think you'll be able to get away with slicks whatsoever. That looks like intermediate conditions.
Yeah, definitely, and I see Inters in the garage as well. So yeah, that is definitely intermediate conditions. So they did the right thing to go on the stock compounder tyres in qualifying. So in Q2, obviously. So they've got a free choice of Inters for the start of the race then, and obviously when it gets towards the end, they'll have some fresh softs to use, or even mediums, depending on when the rain does stop. According to our weather reporter, who has just sent a screenshot of what the weather's going to be like, it's meant to be a light rain for the first 20 minutes, and then it's going to dry up towards the end of the race. But you never know, Cody's might throw a spanner in the works, and let's just get the tyres to see if it's actually Inters, and yes, it is Inters. Not really that surprising there. So the first time in a while where everybody's on the same tyres.
Yeah, and we're actually saying here we've got Westy in the session in a Renault, so that's a bit interesting. This is usually in a Williams, so I'm not quite sure. I didn't even see him make an appearance at the bottom of the screen, so who knows what he can do from possibly how high up the grid he can get in the Renault. But Louis on pole, Fairhand 2nd, Loney 3rd. We haven't seen Louis in the wet conditions so far. We know he's very quick in the dry, and we saw a few perhaps surprises in qualifying with how quick Loney was throughout qualifying and how quick Jonathan Cox was in the first session. Maybe did they go for a bit more of a dry setup than some of these other guys to perhaps start further up the grid and just hope to survive in these early stages?
Well, it depends when the rain does stop, really. If the rain is hit for most of the race, then potentially probably have a mixture of a dry and wet setup. You don't want to go full wet or full dry because it's going to be very difficult. And as you may know, I struggle in these wet conditions a lot, especially if it's inters like this. So, you know, and it's mainly because most of the time I'm either having a full wet setup or a full dry setup. So you got to find the balance between the two, really, to fully succeed in Mexico tonight.
Yeah, it's all about finding a balance. You can also check out some of our sponsors as the drivers are just coming towards the end of the formation lap. The league is sponsored by Mixed Energy. Check out them in the description for their energy products, and you can use the code FOR2020 to get a 10% discount. You can also check out a link to some of our other sponsors, Player One Coffee, in the description as well. Hopefully all the drivers have had their coffee and they're nice and awake here in Mexico. Louis just pulling up to his grid slot. What can he do? Can he get 3 wins in a row, which hasn't been done by anyone so far this season? Can Ferhan get another podium? How high up the grid will some of these fast drivers further back, like Westy and Jonathan Cox, be able to get? And when will the rain stop? Because that could decide everything in this race, as we wait now for the lights to come on. We've got 3 lights, we've got 4 lights, we've got 5 lights here in Mexico. And we are racing a drive-through penalty straight away for Paulie Orange and Loney. And I think Loney's done the right thing and just bolted it at the start. But Louis holding on to that second place for now. Loney is going to be well clear of everyone as he tries to move to cover off Paulie Orange. Ferhan tries to look around the outside, but it's Loney leading into turn 1, obviously, then Louis. Ferhan's gone very deep there. I'm not sure if it was tapped. It looks like it, judging by that.
Yep, he was by Paulie Orange. By Paulie Orange, he tapped, I think, a few people in the first few corners there.
Yeah, we've had a spinner further back as well of Vitinho while all that's been going off, so he's thankfully for him not got any damage, but he'll be right down in last place. Infamous Pillars already getting a penalty for multiple warnings, so he must have pretty much just cut every corner so far on this lap. But it's Loney in the lead, Louis second, Koala now up into 3rd position, Gluck 4th, Paulie Orange 5th, Deso has dropped a couple of places, and we will get the position changes up on screen there. You can see Ferhan has dropped 7 places. I'm sure he will not be happy with that, and it's very easy to get caught out in the braking zone, especially with it being the first time tonight that these guys have driven in these conditions.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously in Monza, they had experience of, obviously in these wet conditioning qualifying, as Andenge is looking for a move on at the racing point as well, as obviously the Haas trying to cover off people as well. We got yellow flags pretty much everywhere, so the conditions are not the best. There's a few people going wide as well, as Paulie Orange and is looking like he's going to serve his drive-through penalty early on, as Glock as well. Has he got damage, or he's serving a drive-through as well? Nope, he's got damage, so he's pitting early on as well, so he also got caught up as well by the damage that has been caused as well. And Louis overtakes Lonely on the track, and he is definitely the race leader now. And Koala, he's not that far behind these guys. This could be a Red Bull 1-2 before we know it.
Yeah, Loney, he'll have to serve his drive-through penalty shortly. Ferhan getting past Andenge as well. And now Deso, Racing Point looking to be inside for a bit, but Andenge has got that covered off. And in fact, the Alfa Romeo got very near to tagging the back of the Mercedes. It was only 2 contacts and 2 laps for Ferhan. We've seen Hibilu spin round. He's now dropped round to 16th behind Vitinho. Paulie Orange obviously serving that drive-through penalty, coming down in 17th. And with Westy starting from the back of the grid and Josh not being here, that was really a big chance for the championship tonight. Perhaps gone begging after that contact early on as well, where thankfully he's got no damage and the jump start. And Glock, he'd have been hoping for a good performance, but with that damage, he's down in last position. It's a shame for him that he wasn't able to just continue until the weather changed and it became drying off for the slick tyres. Nearly at the end of lap 2 now. No DRS, of course, until the race director deems it drying off, and that is usually a good indication of the track being ready for slick tyres. Louis 128.2, so around 10 seconds perhaps off what you'd expect him to do at this time in the race. Koala not close enough to Loney this time around. Deso, though, definitely close to Andenge. Furhan's beginning to escape from these guys, so I think the Racing Point will want to get this move done sooner rather than later, and Andenge taking a move to defend his position and then moving back onto the racing line, so he's well entitled to do that. But Deso definitely looking racy at the moment, but a bit like last week, he's willing to be patient and just wait for the perfect opportunity.
And that's what helped him get that podium last week as well, but obviously he qualified well this week and he's dropped a few places, but I mean, he possibly wants to be careful in the first opening laps because he knows these conditions are very difficult, and it's best for him to not push for positions that much, and because otherwise there'll be damage that will probably send him to the bottom of the field. So he's definitely doing the right thing, but Andenge is doing very well defending from Deso as well, which is probably going to cause a bigger train behind as well, with obviously Cassie G almost behind these guys as well, and obviously we've got the Ferrari of Silent Ace and also Jonathan Cox as well. Don't forget Jonathan Cox had a Q2 ban and he's in 9th place at the moment. He's doing quite well too in 9th, and obviously Infamous Pillars in 10th. So a few people that have made it to Q3 are really struggling today.
Yeah, these conditions always make things a bit interesting. Loney does fly into the pits then to serve his drive-through penalty, so he'll come out down in 16th place, you'd expect. So that promotes Furhan up to 3rd, Andenge to 4th, Deso into 5th for now, but you can see how close it is again, with Andenge feeling the need to go slightly defensive, but perhaps not too much into turn 1. He's gone a bit deep though there, and that might give Deso a chance. He needs to get the cut back, but not able to do so. Andenge just placing his car in all the right places, and Cassie G, he'll be hoping to close up to the back of these at the moment in 6th place in the Williams. Could he get his first podium? Deso has a look maybe round the outside then into turn 4, runs off track slightly, and yeah, feels like he needs to give Andenge that position back, but this could be Cassie G's chance if he's brave enough to just sneak one down the inside at this double apex hairpin at turn 6, not able to do so. So Deso there went for the outside, just didn't have the grip to hold it off, and nearly ended up costing him a position there.
Yeah, he needs to get a move on Deso, because obviously he's been held up by Andenge for quite a long time, which is allowing Cassie G to close in as well, as I was saying a few laps ago. So this could turn into a three-way battle as well, as the visibility is quite hard to see on our screen, so I don't know how these guys are coping with these conditions, and obviously the track is improving for Louis as he's finding more time on those intermediate tyres with a 1:26 at his fastest lap at the moment, as Deso's dropped a bit for Andenge there. That could be a Cassie G's chance to pounce as well. But what about his teammate Jonathan Cox? He's right behind Silent Ace going into turn 1. All they're going to rely on is slipstream here, and he's going to get a perfect run going into this right-hander, and I think that is going to be move done for the Racing Point, and yes he is, and he's only 1.5 seconds behind this group of 3 here, so if he could get some clear air before that, then he's going to catch up these guys no problem.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be too long before Westy's trying to get onto the back of these as well. Let's not forget Westy started way down in 18th position, he's already up to 9th, he's come from the back and got some good points positions a couple of times this season, most notably Hungary, where the race did end in similar conditions to this, as Silent Ace 8th at the moment, Jonathan Cox 7th, Racing Point 5th and 7th, one Racing Point desperate to keep cars ahead of him, the other one's going to be pretty desperate to try and keep the cars behind him at the moment. Out in front though, Louis again just looking supreme at the moment, 5.4 second lead, and Koala, even though now he's free from Loney, he's doing a pretty decent job of keeping that gap back to Furhan. Furhan might have to try something a bit different on strategy here to catch up, but that's difficult given the conditions.
Yeah, definitely, because you never know when the rain is going to stop or conditions are going to get better as well, as Inters usually in Mexico last about the same time as the medium compound tyres, so you know they've got to judge really when will be the best option, because you never know. If you leave it too late, then you'll have to pit again not too long into it, and you're going to lose a chunk of time to the leaders that pitted early on, and obviously have done that, as we're seeing another battle between Deso and Andenge once again, and again Andenge doing very well, but Deso trying to use Andenge tactic going into this right-hander, but this time I think he's going to have the better exit, but look at Andenge's speed going there. He's not letting Desso get that position that easy, but Desso, I think, had to let loose there, and he got the job done nicely there as he's up into 4th place for now. Jonathan Cox has dropped a bit from Legend Cathy G, 2.6 seconds now separating them, so there might have been a mistake there, and that is leaving Westy with a great opportunity to get past the very charging Jonathan Cox now.
Yeah, Westy's managed to get past Silent Ace, and that was a pretty bad lap for the Ferrari drivers as Droftas has got ahead of Infamous Pillars as well. Both Mercedes now into the top 10, so they're hoping to fight their way through the field. Fairhan is beginning to close that gap to Koala, and you can see how important it was. Andenge holding up Desso. The gap was pretty close at the start of the race, obviously. It's now 6 seconds. The Racing Point driver has got to be able to gain on Fairhan if he wants to end up winning the race. We'll have to wait and see if he wants to get a podium at least anyway, because Louis looking very supreme at the moment. Louis up to 13th after his drive-through penalty, so it doesn't seem to have affected him too much, and he's still making his way up the order. But Paulie Orange in 17th. I can't see any end plate missing, but I do wonder if he's just got a tiny bit of damage. Perhaps that's not visible after that contact with Fairhan earlier, because I did expect him to make his way up through the field a bit faster.
Yeah, I mean, he tapped from behind as well, so yeah, he's probably lost. He's probably a bit of a minor damage. You can get away with having a minor damage, obviously, in the dry, but in the wet, especially around Mexico, it could be tricky. So I think Paulie Orange will probably need to pit very soon, but again, I think he's just worried about the weather, really, to be honest. If it was staying like this for the whole of the session, then obviously he would have pitted a lot earlier, but, you know, it is a shame that he can't climb up that fast, and this is the race where this could have been the most opportunity to score points, obviously, from Josh, who's not here tonight. I was going to talk about Westy, but obviously Westy's in there as well, so you know, Westy could gain from Paulie Orange if he's not careful. So yeah, Nabili not doing too well either. He hasn't scored any points at all this season, and he's not looking like he's going to get any points either. But we've seen surprises. We've seen safety cars change things massively, especially in these conditions. So Habili needs a miracle, and he's going to hope there is a safety car at some point.
Yeah, we're on lap 8 out of 36 here. We've just seen Habilu's teammate Loney make his way up again. He is now in 12th, so the Ferrari of Infamous Pillars will be his next target. You've only been in about 10 or 11 minutes into this race, so you're still going to have about the same again as we've already had of rain. So whether these drivers can keep the intermediates in good enough condition until the dry weather comes, that could be a challenge as well. Westy, he's challenging Jonathan Cox now at the moment. The Renault all over the back of the Racing Point for 7th and 8th position. And a bit like Andenge and Desso earlier, Westy knows he needs to get past as soon as possible to try and gain to those ahead of him, especially if he wants to get into the top 5 or potentially get a podium. Jonathan Cox just getting a bit sideways, coming through 10 and 11. Westy not close enough to take advantage this time around. And again, Jonathan Cox running a bit deep. Louis really pulling away now. He's got that gap up to 10 seconds above his teammate, and Fairhan also closing in as well. And I don't think it'll be too long before the Mercedes is as close to the back as that Red Bull as the Renault and the Racing Point are here at the moment. As they come on to lap 9, this should be fairly straightforward, even with no DRS. Westy has just got a far better run coming outside of the final corner. Who's got this pace going down the straight? It looks like the Renault. He's going to have the inside line for turn 1 as well. Jonathan Cox fighting for all he's worth, and he's done a fantastic job holding it off around the outside there, and he's just going to keep that position. Great defending there from Jonathan Cox to hold on to that place.
Yep, indeed, and Silent Ace also trying to make moves of these two as well, so he's waiting for any of those two to make a mistake as well. Oh, a little bit of a touch from Silent Ace on Westy. Hopefully no damage is costed there, but yeah, this is looking like to be a very tasty battle between these three as well. And also, don't forget, Droftas in it as well. These wet conditions is definitely throwing a spanner in the works for these guys. We've got a Ferrari in P9. We've got Westy that made his way from 18th down to up to 8th place, and obviously Jonathan Cox up into 7th. We are seeing what can happen if if it stays like this for a long time. And obviously it is getting better than what we're seeing at the start of the session, almost certainly, as the visibility has improved drastically at the moment. But obviously we're not expecting to dry up until potentially, I think, 30 to 45 minutes of the race is where we can see it dry up. So potentially I'll have to make one stop now and then one stop towards the end for the dry tyres potentially. Here comes Westy again on Jonathan Cox. Can he get the move done this time? I think he's going to keep potentially to the inside again, going towards turn 1, which he does. It worked well last time, but he got the move done way before this time, so well done to him as well. Silent Ace dropping back from these two, but he doesn't want to get involved in any instance, so he's sitting back for now. As Jonathan Cox has got a penalty, he's got to make his way past Westy soonish, and also defend from Silent Ace and Droftas behind.
Yeah, so Jonathan Cox gets himself a penalty, drops down to 8th position. I think it's a good job for him that Silent Ace is too busy with Droftas, and Droftas might have to start thinking about Loney as well, who's done a great job fighting his way up through the field, and we have now got a proper battle going on for 2nd and 3rd position. Furhan, he's had 2 second places in a row so far. He had 2 wins early on in the season. I'm sure we'd love to make it 3 wins, but it looks as though he's going to have to try and settle for 3 second places with the pace that Louis is showing at the moment. But since he's got 3 of some of them other drivers, he is really showing some fantastic pace. Has Furhan in the Mercedes as his teammates currently battling with Loney, but these two going on to lap 11. Is Koala going to go defensive? You can see him there moving over to the right hand side, and Furhan's going to have to go the long way around at turn 1. Mercedes power versus Honda power on the way down to turn 1. Furhan not able to go around the outside this time around. Koala just about got ahead. Is he going to close the door? Koala great defending here, but Furhan will get a much better exit on the run down to turn 4, but just got a bit of wheel spin there coming out of 3. That could cost him. This is a very tough corner to go round the outside. We saw Deso try it once and fail, try it once more and succeed. And Furhan decides to wait another day this time around, and Koala hangs on, but he's just got a bit deep, but gets away with it. And this is just costing them time, not only to Louis, but possibly to Deso behind. Now that the racing point is clear of Andenge, he's got 5 seconds ahead of the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, but he's doing very well in 4th place, of course. Meanwhile, obviously, we've got Cassie G and Andenge fighting for P/5 as well. And that's why potentially Deso has got ahead due to these two fighting for dear life here. And Westy's dropped off a bit from the Williams driver and obviously Andenge as well, which is a bit of a shame right now. And obviously Jonathan Cox is now 1.6 seconds behind these lot as well, so maybe the Inters are starting to pass their sell-by date, well, their first lot of Inters anyway, which is to be expected, of course, as Lonely is having a battle with Silent Ace in the stadium section once again, but this time he gets the move done very nicely as he holds on to P9 as well. Droftas hoping to get a better run into the start-finish straight as well. There's a bit of spray coming from some of the cars as well, which is going to make things tricky, of course, as well as the dirty air. After we've got infamous pillars going into the pits, but let's ignore that at the moment. Let's see if Silent Ace can get past Lonely into turn 1. I don't think he's going to think about it yet. I think he's going to stay behind for now, but Lonely is catching up to Jonathan Cox at a higher rate of knots right now. This could be P8 for him.
Yeah, with the pace he's showing us, Droftas nearly loses it coming out of turn 3, so I think he'll be pretty glad that Infamous Pillars has pitted, otherwise he could have lost a place there. But Loney up into 9th, if he'd have not had that drive-through penalty, he'd have definitely been up and around where Furhan was if he hadn't have jumped to start. So such a shame for him, but he could easily get a top 5 performance with the pace he's showing, and he's right on the back of Jonathan Cox already. Furhan wasn't able to get close enough to Koala that time around. Will he have a dive into the stadium like we saw Loney do on the Ferrari? No. The race leader though, Louis, into the pits at the end of lap 12 for what will obviously be another set of intermediate tyres. Not too surprised to see them wearing. Surprised one of Koala or Furhan didn't pit, especially Furhan, just to try something different to get a bit of free air ahead of Koala. So this is now a battle for the lead now that Louis has pitted. This time Furhan's got the inside line. That should make it a bit more straightforward on the run down to turn 1. Koala's going to have to try and hold it all the way around the outside. He's going to try again, but Furhan gets the move done here. His exit is going to be a bit compromised, so if Koala can keep it nice and clean out of the corner, he may have a chance round the outside into turn 4 with the Silver Arrow defending the inside. Is Furhan going to be able to cover it off this time around? Koala's gone a bit deep. There's going to be a bit of wheel banging between the two of them, but I think Furhan's just about going to get that position done. That is for the lead, but a net second place with Louis coming out in third on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Great move in the end from Furhan. It wouldn't be surprising to see one or both of them, though, pit this lap.
Yeah, definitely. And meanwhile, whilst that battle was happening, Lonely got very close to Jonathan Cox and was able to get the move up to 8th place for now. But Jonathan Cox still looking impressive behind the Toro Rosso driver. And to be honest, it looked very, very intense as I was watching that battle. So, well done to the Toro Rosso, who is pretty much the prancing horse of this race so far, looking to make amends of his poor start, of course, but you know, he's hungry for it and he's not letting the mistakes phase him right now. Resty still on the back of Van Denge for P6 for now. Van Denge is dropping quite a bit on the Williams driver as well. This could be a three-way battle for P5 potentially. Desso is out of the picture now as he's pulling away from these guys, but also, Catty G's out of the picture as well, as Wesley's going to have a much better run than Undenge going into the start-finish straight, which he does, and that's going to be P6 for him. And it may be just me, but I can only see spray. I can't see any rain at all.
Yeah, I was just about to say that there's a distinct lack of rain on my screen, so maybe staying out a bit longer was the thing to do at the moment. We've seen one Renault make his way up, and Vitinho's just got past YBR as well for 12th and 13th place, and Paulie Orange is on the back of these as well. Hibilu's coming for a set of the intermediate tyres, so I think we could see in the next lap or two a few drivers might risk for the dries. There's a lot of spray out on circuit at the moment, but given how dry it looks and the fact it's not raining, as now Westy's managed to get past Legend as well, so he's really fighting his way up the order. He's up into 5th. As I was saying, given how dry it looks, it's not raining anymore. Is there any point pitting for the intermediate tyres knowing that you're going to have to pit again just a few laps later?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It's drying up really quickly as well. There's less spray on some parts of the circuit and more spray on others as well. So I would give it a few more laps and then potentially risk it and go on to a set of potentially the medium tyres or even the softs. But due to the fact you're starting on the intermediate tyres, you can literally go on the same set of dry compound tyres if you want to. There's no requirement to go on to different dry compounds at the pretty much in this race, so you get the freedom in a sense. As two people making a gamble is Andenge and Jonathan Cox. Andenge is going on the softs, whereas Jonathan Cox is going on the mediums. Two different strategies here. Joftas also going for the gamble as well. Joftas is on the inters actually. I thought he was going to go for the gamble, but he's staying on the inters. Maybe he wasn't meant to do that. He probably forgot to change his tyres. That's going to be very risky. He will definitely have to pit again, as Jonathan Cox on the mediums, Vitinho on the mediums, and YBR also on the mediums. So the only one on the dries, on the soft, is Andenge. But is it a bit too little too late? We'll find out in a lap's time.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised to see Jonathan Cox. The mediums might be the better in a few laps, but they're going to have absolutely no temperature, and he's just sailed way too deep into turn 1 there. This is going to be a very interesting lap for him. Going to be interesting to see what Furhan decides to do, because he's going to have to pit shortly, because them intermediates are going to be pretty past their sell-by date, and he's got Louis all over the back of him at the moment as they come on to lap 16, 21 laps remaining at round 18 of the FOR PS4 Championship here. We've got a battle for the lead now between Red Bull and Mercedes. Louis on the inside, Furhan on the outside on the older tyres. He's just about hanging on for now, and the longer he can hold Louis behind him, the better it might be later on in the race. They're going to be side by side again, as Furhan got enough of a run out of that corner to stay alongside Louis. Turns out he didn't, and he retakes the lead of this race. Desso, Legend, Loney, they've all pitted and gone onto the mediums. Westy going onto the hards, which I think is a surprise, because the mediums, I believe, will now last until the end of the race. So Desso could be looking pretty good here, but you've seen Andenge, he's lost a lot of time to Glock on that lap on the soft tyres. We've got a yellow flag and that is going to be Jonathan Cox. He's diving into the pits.
No, Vitinho.
Oh, sorry, Vitinho's out of the race. Thanks for that, Jess. Vitinho is out. Jonathan Cox has pitted. What tyres is he putting on? Jonathan Cox, has he got any damage? No, he's just pitting for the soft tyres. YBR on the mediums, but Vitinho out of the race. That hasn't caused a safety car, which may have spiced things up a bit, but again, it's going to be no points for him. Again, things not going well for him. When will we see the leaders, though, come into the pits? Because I still think at the moment, intermediates are the best, but if you haven't pitted, they're going to be struggling, possibly getting towards puncture territory at the moment.
Yeah, Verhan, though, is taking the gamble on those set of the dry tyres, and it's mediums for him, which will go to the end. No, it's not. Oh, it was softs and then mediums. Okay, the game flipped a little bit, but yeah, he's going on the mediums now for the end of the race. But Louis still staying out for now. He's still realising that the spray's there, but we're interested to see what Furhan's first lap is like on those mediums. If he can catch up to the likes of the guys on the inters that pass their sell-by date, it's going to be very tricky. For Louis, though, it's not going to be too difficult for his tyre wear. He can stay out for a bit longer on those inters until the track is drier. His teammate can't, though, so Koala, I think he's got to take a gamble, obviously. Maybe go on the mediums, maybe the best thing to do right now. I think there's only spray on a little bit of the circuit right now, so I think just waiting for DRS to be enabled won't be enough in this situation. No, and he spun.
Sorry, who's that who spun?
It was Koala that went off and took in the brake embargo with it, and he's gone back on the circuit, so he is struggling on the inters. It might be a puncher because he's going very, very slowly. No, it's not a punch. Oh, he's struggling very bad. So, oh, it is a puncher.
Yeah, well,
front left.
When I saw Furhan coming into the pits, his tyres were completely bald. So Koala with a puncture, he's just pushing it a bit too far. This could drop him well down the field and bring Deso, Legend and Loney back into a shot of a podium. We'll have to wait and see. So there we go. Koala in heading towards the pits with that puncture, if he can make it into the pits, just about for now. So that just shows you push it one lap too far, and there we go, DRS enabled. So Louis, he'll surely be coming in this lap as well, because Furhan is going to be flying up to the back of him for the rest of this lap. 28.5 seconds, that gap, and I expect it to start falling very rapidly throughout the next part of the lap. Koala, where is he going to come out? Dropping behind Deso, so that is how much that puncture has cost him. He was battling with Furhan. He is now down in fourth position, so maybe the chance of having both Red Bulls on the podium has just fell out of the window there. And Louis, I said he might lose a bit of time to Furhan. He's actually pulling away on those fresher intermediate tyres, but surely this is going to be the lap we see the race leader head into the pits.
Well, that's Louis for you, finding some time regardless of what tyre he goes on anyway, which is safe to say on how well he's been doing this race so far. And I think he's going to stay out in front anyway. He's going to pull up a great gap. Oh, he stays out.
Yes, and Louis,
is he meant to do that?
Louis is staying out. Now, when we do get the weather, there is a bit of a caveat. We only see it at the start of the race at 20 minutes and at 45 minutes. There's a lot can happen in between 20 and 45 minutes. Who knows whether there's going to be another quick rain shower, and maybe if he can keep these intermediates good enough, because he still pulled away from Furhan on that lap, even though he's on intermediate tyres. I'm not sure it's the best idea, but he has got more information than us, and there is a reason why I generally sit in the commentary box and stay away from the cockpit, as he just makes his way through the Toro Rosso. That's how helpful the Toro Rossos are when you're getting lapped by a Red Bull. They even go invisible for them, and I'm sure they'd love that to happen in real life. And I'm sure when F1 2020 comes out, I'm going to be calling Alpha Tauri Toro Rosso quite a few times as well. So Furhan in second at the moment, still not really gaining on Louis. Deso in third, Koala fourth, Legend fifth, Loney up to sixth after that drive-through penalty, Westy seventh, Silent Aces eighth, Paulie Orange and Glock 9th and 10th, so they moved up after pitting onto the medium tyres. YBR 11th, Droftas dropping down to 12 after, of course, pitting onto the intermediates. Probably wasn't the best move for him, and it's going to be tough for him to get up into the points, and it might be tough for him to even hold on to 12th place for now because he's got Alan and Jonathan Cox behind him, both on the soft tyres. And here we go, we've got 4 cars that are all going to be battling here towards turn 1. Droftas goes down the inside of YBR, manages to hold off the move from Alan, and Jonathan Cox thinks he might be able to sneak the racing point down the inside. They made contact last race around in Japan, and I think this time Jonathan Cox is going to be able to get past. No, Alan has a much better exit, but Jonathan Cox still dives it down the inside. Alan's seen him coming though, thankfully. And Jonathan Cox, a very decisive move there, up into 13th. Louis has pitted in the end, but a bit of a reduced gap to the lead, what you would have expected, especially before all that pit stop period. It is now 7 seconds back, and you can see Koala with the fastest lap at the race. Still not really near the pace you'd expect in dry conditions, though.
Definitely not. I mean, that puncher probably gave him the worst possible outcome for him, really. He could have been in a definite shot for a podium, but we've seen Deslo's pace really improve as Lonely and Cassie G having a fight yet again. I mean, they're doing brilliant. They're probably getting the most out of this situation as well. For Lonely, it's like the drive-through penalty never even existed for him. It's just like that he's gone onto the track, going into the pits a couple of times, and he still comes out in P5. He's doing like what a Toro Rosso should do, really. I think it more reminds me of Pierre Gasly in Brazil, who has been was chasing down for an unlikely podium that he got as well. And it'll be great to see a repeat of that potentially as well. But you never know, penalties can come into effect, and we've just seen Infamous Pillars got one as well. And I know a few of the other drivers have got a penalty too. I won't be surprised if everyone gets a penalty this race. That's just how harsh these track limits do to you right now. A lot more people are going for fastest laps, but the track won't be improved just yet. I think more people will be trying it towards the end. Literally anyone who is finishing this race can get the fastest lap point. If your fastest lap belongs to you in FOR, then that's it, you get a point. It's not like in other leagues where if you do it outside the top 10 you don't get a point. You will do it if you're in any part of the grid, which is absolutely fantastic. Is Cassie G going to make a move on Lonely again? Not quite, but this could be his final chance potentially in the DRS detection point, but I don't think he's going to get the straight line speed as Lonely has, as Lonely is pulling away like no tomorrow at the moment.
Yeah, Lonely, if he hadn't have had that drive-through penalty, you've got to say he'd be up in 3rd position, possibly challenging Furhan for 2nd, so he must be kicking himself. Jonathan Cox then, fastest lap of the race so far, as you'd expect from someone on the soft tyres. He's trying to close up to Droftas for 11th position, but it's going to be a challenge to get them softs to last towards the end of the race. So after showing a lot of pace in qualifying, he did have that penalty though. I think it's going to be hard for him to get into the points as Louis now 122.3. He's enjoying himself 9 seconds ahead with 15 laps to go, and it looks like being 3 wins out of 3 as Alan down the inside of Infamous Pillars for 15th place. Only 1 car behind these 2, and that is Hibilo, who's just got himself a penalty, with Vitinho being the only retirement here. Surprising, you've got to say, given the wet conditions at the start. You probably expected a few more drivers to find their way into the barriers.
Yeah, like Monza, quite a few more people found the barriers in the wet conditions, but the wets were for a bit longer around Monza, whereas around here it lasted for considerably less time, and probably what you would have less expected in this game. So, you know, to be honest, well done for all the 17 cars keeping it on the track. There was a few people that could have just given up there and then, but Glock was one of those drivers that was down the grid at the start of the race, but his drive strategy is working brilliantly as he's got past Paulie Orange and up into 9th place. So hopefully he can score a few points out of this as well. And obviously Jonathan Cox dropping massively on those soft tyres. Maybe it's not the best move for him because he will almost certainly be asked to pit again potentially. So will Aiden as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Denge has managed to get past YBR for 13th and 14th place. So the Alfa Romeo trying to move his way back into the points. Koala, he's showing some pretty decent pace though now that he's had that puncture, and it wouldn't surprise me if Vitinho had a puncture, and that's what put the Renault into the wall. Koala up into 4th still, just 2 seconds behind Deso. If he can get that gap down to a second, that will be all important, because he will have DRS going into turn 1 and into turn 4. You saw that when Glock got past Paulie Orange, he still had it on the next straight, as there is only one detection point. I'm interested to see what Westy's pace is going to be like, because he's sort of on his own at the moment on those hard tyres. Those on the mediums might come towards him at the end of the race, but it might just be too little too late for him.
Yeah, potentially as well. It may be that some of the guys are staying on until the end, and maybe Westy is hoping that the tyres have died. And we've got another retirement, and that is Infamous Pillars, and that was, I think, in the pits. No, I'm just trying to look, actually. I'm not sure if it was the pits or if it's the barriers at the start-finish straight. It is tough to tell, and I think no one is going past that. Let's follow the Mercedes, actually, of Furhan.
Yeah,
I think we've just gone past the unfortunate pits. Yeah, it was a pit lane.
And you can see the Ferrari coming back out onto track. So, Infamous Pillars, the second retirement, and he won't be able to get any points. It's a shame he retired, because maybe he could have snuck a fastest lap point towards the end of the race if he'd have gone for those soft tyres. But unfortunately for him, we'll never find out. YBR's managed to get back past Aylin, 14th and 15th. So maybe now those soft tyres, as you said, Jess, just beginning to wear out. Deso's got himself a time penalty. That could be costly towards the end of the race, given as he's less than 3 seconds ahead of Koala at the moment. He's pushing hard to extend that gap, and Koala does have 2 laps fresher medium tyres, so this battle could get very interesting towards the end of the race. It all seems fairly spread out in the points for now, but I'm sure it is all going to close down. Glock, though, he's looking pretty fast. He'll be hoping to catch up to Silent Ace and possibly even Westy towards the end of the race, although he's really going to have to get that McLaren moving supremely quickly if he wants to finish in 7th place, as Louis, 119.9, fastest lap of the race. The track really now getting more towards normal full dry conditions.
Yeah, definitely. And Glock, he has a few penalties, I believe, so he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to score any more points in this race. Jovdas getting a few penalties as well, and Louis already making a mark of 12 seconds separating between him and Verhan, and 10 seconds separating between Verhan and Dessa. So looks like the top 2 are running their own race. It would have been nice to see the top 2 fighting, considering it's one of Louis' worst track on this game, but maybe he's doing a bit of reverse psychology. He's maybe doing a bit of a Lewis Hamilton-esque type of thing. He said, oh, it's my worst track. He goes on and absolutely dominates, so maybe he's putting that effect. He saw George Russell doing exactly the same to what Lewis Hamilton did in the sim racing community in the virtual GP, so maybe he's learned a lesson from those 2, I must say.
Yeah, we are, of course, only 1 week away from hearing them classic words, Bono, my tyres are gone, next week at the Austrian Grand Prix. And Silent Ace, he's looking like he's struggling a bit with his tyres at the moment. Glock earning himself another time penalty in the pursuit of the Ferrari. He's got DRS. He's going to move to the outside. Silent Ace giving him the squeeze, as he's well entitled to do, and Glock going to try and shove it down the inside. Surely there's going to be a bit of wheel banging there. Glock really determined to make his way up through the field. He's up into 8th position now. He's going to have the better exit, and he will be ahead going into the SS Silent Ace, having to yield there to avoid an accident. And that is the McLaren up into 8th position. Great move by him, I must say. Westy's his next target, 6 seconds up the road though, with 11 laps to go, is going to be a bit of a challenge. Legend has dropped back a bit from Loney, as has Koala from Deso, but out in front, it looks like it's going to be another hat-trick. Powell win fastest lap, 78 out of 78 points for Louis, if he can just keep it nice and clean and avoid any incidents over the next 10.5 laps.
Imagine what he would have been like if he was there at the start of the season. Potentially, he would have been comfortably winning this thing right now, but obviously his thoughts are mainly on the constructors, of course, and it's definitely looking like that obviously Red Bull are going to be leading the constructors after tonight, which we thought it wouldn't happen, considering obviously Renault were comfortably leading it beforehand, but it's just to show the calibre that Louis is showing. Another fastest lap from him, as he's probably saying fastest lap everywhere at the moment. I think everybody else is going to hope that Louis not going to get fastest lap. I think the only people that could get fastest lap are the ones that are probably going to be out of the fight for a position. Maybe Habili could go on the soft tyres if he has enough. Potentially, you can possibly see it there, but it's got to be an even quick lap to do that for now. He's got to make sure that he keeps it. He's got to be really fast-paced because you know how Louis is in any conditions right now. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think anyone outside the top 10 is unlikely to get into the top 10, so it might be worth them going for it, especially Aylan and Jonathan Cox, who have gone for the soft tyres for this race. We are seeing a lot of penalties pop up on the screen at the moment. Koala just getting one there. We've seen a few pop up for a few other drivers as well. We'll just go on board then with Andenge. He's finally got away from YBR. He's trying to close up onto Jonathan Cox for 12 and 13, but as I said, we might see a few drivers coming to the pits, put the softs on and try to get the fastest lap. There we go, Jonathan Cox in the racing point, and let's not forget, he originally pitted for the medium tyres and then put the softs on again, so he could have well been in the points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he could have got 2 points out of this as well, so it'll be interesting to see what his next few laps are as well coming up soon. He's going to be saving a lot of ERS though, because otherwise he will probably hit the deployment limit before the end of the lap as well. Aylan has done exactly what I thought he was going to do. He's also on the soft compound of tyres as well. Is Habili going to do exactly the same thing? We'll have to wait and see, of course. Well, he is ghosted on my screen, but it's probably because that he is about to be lapped by quite a few cars, one of which is Louis, who's lapping people for the first time, which is not really a surprise, to be honest. I'm actually going to see who is about to be lapped, potentially. I think from 13 downwards, there's something interesting happened there.
Yeah, I think YBR slowed down to let Louis through as he went off track and came back onto track. Ibilu nearly ended up taking the pair of them out, and Ibilu doing the right thing and letting YBR back by. That could have made things a bit lively towards the end, because a crash there could have well taken the pair of them out and led to a safety car, but thankfully it didn't. There's only 8 laps remaining at the moment. Hibilu has gone in for the soft tyres and got himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Loney's got himself a penalty as well. Glock, I said he might catch up to Westy and it'd be a tough job. 8 laps to go. He's got the gap down to 3.8 seconds at the moment, so it's definitely possible, and you can see he's losing time through the S's. That suggests to me we are getting to the point where these hard tyres might be a bit quicker than the mediums. I just think it's too late for Westy to be able to close the gap to those ahead though.
Yeah, I mean, in the last few laps maybe Westy could pull the gap, but it will definitely be too little too late for him as well. But obviously if it was drive for the whole race, then that's what probably Westy would have done, and most likely for most of these drivers would have been a medium to hard strategy, as Habili's not going to set fastest lap this lap, as he's got a 3-second time penalty as well. As we're not seeing much battling happening at the moment. It's more about most people trying to get the sneaky fastest lap point at the moment, but penalties can change things, of course. Quite a few people trying to pull away from everybody else to make sure that they can get rid of the deficit they have dealt themselves, obviously, as Louis sets the fastest lap yet again. I think the only one in the 117s right now. Speaking of that, Jonathan Cox just smashed it by 1/10.
Yeah, this could be interesting, a bit of a battle. A bit like what Sebastian Vettel liked asking Rocky, his race engineer, back in them dominant Red Bull days. He always wanted the fastest lap, even when you didn't get a point for it, because he loved the stats. So Louis and Jonathan Cox having a bit of a race against the clock here. This could get very interesting indeed, especially if Louis starts picking up a chunk of penalties towards the end of this race while pushing for that fastest lap point. We'll have to wait and see. He's 17 seconds ahead, so the race looks well and truly sewn up with 6.5 laps remaining. Furhan, who's currently second in a bit of a race of his own, 10 seconds ahead of Desso, who's 3 seconds ahead of Koala, and Koala must still be going that one extra lap on those intermediate tyres, causing that puncture. Otherwise we could have well seen a Renault 1-2 at the moment. And Glock, he's still definitely catching up to Westy at the moment. That gap now, 2.6 seconds. Maybe in the last lap or two, could see a McLaren and Renault battling as there we go. Louis gets into the 116 till I know Jonathan Cox has actually invalidated a lap this time around, and the longer it goes, the harder it's going to be for those on the softs to take that fastest lap away.
And it would have not been enough anyway for Jonathan Cox to get the fastest lap this lap anyway. So, yeah, I'm liking these battles for fastest lap, to be honest. And I like leagues that implement it for any part of the grid, because it shows a little bit of competition. And we haven't seen that much competition in the race that I've been commentating on. But we're showing it's pretty much between Jonathan Cox versus Louis by the looks of things. Aylin and obviously Hibilo, I think, probably won't get the fastest lap point unless they get a miracle. Aylin is close though to Jonathan Cox, so it could be a possibility, of course, but obviously we know how quick Louis is as well. But I think standout performances has got to be, I think, obviously Westy, who started 18th, obviously Lonely as well, who dropped a few positions due to the drive-through, has come back to 5th place as well. Kawan not doing too bad, and obviously Son Ace gaining a few positions too. I mean, the biggest losers I've got to say has got to be obviously Vitinho, Infamous, and also Paulie Orange as well, who also had damage, I believe, which costed him a few positions too at the start of the race. But some of the guys may have timed their pit stops a little bit too wrong on those dry conditions, but it's definitely dry now for these guys with a few laps to go. Can any position change towards the end as some of the tyres start to degrade really quickly?
Yeah, I think the most likely position change will be for Glock and Westy. What might help Jonathan Cox, if he wants to get the fastest lap, is that he is closing to YBR. So if he can get close enough to get DRS both times around and not get held up by the Williams, that would be an ideal situation, but I think that is going to be pretty tricky. We have got Glock closing up to Westy. We've also got Paulie Orange, who had a drive-through penalty, let's not forget, at the start of the race. In the middle of all this happening, we have forgot that him and Loney jumped the start. So if it wasn't for that, Paulie Orange could have been up near where Legend is at the moment, in 6th place. But can he pick up another point in this race? 1.5 seconds behind Silent Ace. So on the same age of tyres with 5 laps remaining at the moment. It's going to be close for 9th and 10th. It's going to be close for 7th and 8th as well, with Glock now 1.3 seconds behind Westy. As soon as he gets in DRS range, it's going to be hard for that Renault to defend.
Yeah, definitely as well. Don't forget Westy, who's not meant to be in the Renault. He's meant to be in the Williams, of course, but I do believe he'll be scoring points for Renault this time instead of Williams. And considering the fact that Renault and Williams are fighting for each other in the constructors, a little bit of a double-edged sword, I must say. Louis got a penalty, but unlike last week, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference unless it's a safety car. But I don't think a safety car is going to come now, because otherwise it'll be too little too late, I think. So I think Louis is going to go for the win unless something bad happens to him, which is not going to happen really. And Furhan's going to be second. For everybody else, it's going to be about who gets the least amount of penalties.
Yeah, Glock, he's got a few penalties, like you said, but he's not thinking about that at the moment. He's just thinking about opening the rear wing on that McLaren and getting down the inside of the Renault on the run down to turn 1 with 4 laps remaining. Here we go. Glock then moves to that inside line, and Westy not really fighting it, knowing he's not got the tyres or the pace at this point in the race. In fact, Westy nearly losing a bit of his front wing on the back of the McLaren there, and that is a straightforward pass for Glock, and he's going to have DRS as well going down the next straight just to make it doubly sure. So he is up into 7th place, and Paulie Orange, he's really closed onto the back of Silent Ace, not able to have a go this time around, but this row is going to have to get pretty creative with his defensive manoeuvres if he wants to hold on to 9th.
Yeah, indeed. We thought that the battles were going to get quieter, but there's nowhere near that at the moment. And also for the potential extra point can make a difference in the championship. And Paulie Orange has probably kissed his chances goodbye unless Silent Ace has got a few more penalties than him. We'll have to wait until the end of this race, obviously. So Paulie Orange is not going to take that too much of an advantage going into the championship tonight on Josh, obviously, because obviously Josh is not here. But Westy is going to close in by a few points to Josh towards the end, and we never know when the season is going to finish. We're not sure if they're doing a few races on 2019 into the 2020 game yet. We're not sure. But anyway, here comes Paulie Orange. This time on Silent Ace, but he gets to move quite comfortably this time. And he's got to pull away from Silent Ace if he wants to keep P9 on the circuit right now. Westy also challenging Glock for P7 as well. Who's going to get either of those positions? Droftas goes into the pit, and he is definitely going to try for the fastest lap point in this race. Maybe too little too late for him, but you never know. We want someone to possibly knock Louis off his purchase for fastest lap.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully Droftas will be able to get out before Louis starts his final lap of the race, otherwise he won't be able to finish at all. So there we go, Droftas has come out of the pit lane. Louis is on just about to start lap 36 here, not too far away now. But here we go, Droftas, can he set the fastest lap? Paulie Orange did get past Silent Ace, and he is pretty short on ERS though, so if Silent Ace can just keep within a second, that might give him a big help down this straight, because Paulie Orange will run out of energy a fairly short way down this main pit straight here. So here we go. I think, in fact, I just think Silent Ace has dropped too far behind at the detection point. It's going to be mightily close, but no, he's not going to get DRS whatsoever. So that might be his chances of 10th place on track at least going out of the window. And Glock still having to keep Westy at bay. Westy just about hanging on for now, but not able to get any closer. And the driver we haven't spoke about for a bit, as Louis is now onto the final lap of the race. Loney's pulled away quite comfortably from Legend. It's been a very good performance after that disappointing start with the jump starts.
I've got to say, due to that comeback, he's definitely my driver of the day, because to be honest, he's pulling out all the stops. He's not letting his negative starts phase him, and he's just showing that you can't give up after that poor start. I mean, in qualifying, he was looking impressive as well, especially in Q3 too. So if he can perform performances like that, imagine what he's going to be like in USA, where obviously the S section is a little bit similar to places like Maggotts and Beckett in Britain, and obviously the S section in Suzuka, and obviously a little bit of the S section here as well in Mexico. So I think USA is going to be a track that's going to suit Loney next week, but we're not counting our chickens before they hatch. And where the confetti is coming into the stadium section, which means you can only mean one thing. Louis is going to come across the line now, and he's going to take his third win in a row. The first driver in F1 to go 3 for 3 with a 24-second gap to Verhan. Don't forget, Louis has got penalties though, so it will probably come down just a little bit unless Verhan has got some penalties as well. Let's look back to the Westy versus Glock battle. Is Westy going to close in a little bit? You can see that the hards are definitely coming to fruition more than the mediums right now, so maybe it's Westy's good decision potentially to stay on those hards, to play the long game. Verhan crossing the line in second place of the gap. It is 19.5 seconds. What could Candesso stay third? We don't know yet, as Koala is going to probably miss out on a podium spot, which is going to be a shame for him. Yes, that is 4th place for now. Oh, Lonely, that is very close from the Toro Rosso. There is, oh, that could have been his chance of P5. Goodbye, but he crossed the line, and an impressive P5 for him as Cassie G comes across the line in 6th, and Lonely drops down to 8 due to penalties, so he must have got a lot of penalties there.
Yeah, he must have done indeed. And in fact, Cassie G, Glock and Wesley were beginning to catch him up towards an end. So I wonder if he had to do a bit of fuel saving. One man who had enough time to save all the fuel in the world, possibly nip to the nearest petrol station, put a bit more in, even, was Louis. That is 3 wins out of 3. Absolutely fantastic performance once again from him. And it's the same podium as we had last time out. And I don't think we'd have expected that after the way lap 1 went, especially with Verhan nearly getting spun completely around.
You know, the weather definitely changes things on its heads, and surprisingly, no safety cars or no VSCs as well. I thought we were going to get loads in this race. I definitely predicted before, when I saw the weather, I was like, right, there's definitely going to be a safety car no matter what, but definitely not. And yeah, this I think now confirms Red Bull is going to be leading the Constructors' Championship, and with not that many races to go, Renault will need a miracle. They're going to hope that Josh returns next time about. And as you can see, pretty much everybody has got penalties. I think no one has got away without a penalty, so it just goes to show that the track limits are really harsh around here. Let's go through your results then before we go to the post-race interviews. We've got Louis in first, Verhan in second, and Desso another podium in a row, his second P3. I mean, having less penalties than a few other drivers probably helped him a little bit there. Koala in fourth, Legend fifth, Glock sixth, Sun ace, getting some good points from Ferrari, up starting 11th in 7th, Westy in 8th, Lonely in 9th due to a lot of penalties. And let me see how many penalties he's got. 24 seconds, wow, that's a lot. And Paulie Orange in 10th, and then we've got Andenge, RBR, Aiden, Joftas, Jonathan Cox, Ibilu, and your non-finishers are Infamous Pillars and Vitinho, who retired quite early on in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I've got to say, with that situation, it wouldn't surprise me if Lonely was only one penalty away from getting disqualified completely from this race. And just hearing from Koala, he only missed out by less than half a second. He actually had 2 punctures on that Red Bull. So, a bit like Fernando Alonso in Azerbaijan 2 years ago, it would have been now. I'm surprised he managed to keep that out of the barrier, but he managed to get 4th position. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the top few drivers in now to hear from them and hear on their reaction of what was a fantastic race indeed. Verhan was second, Desso finished in 3rd place, but it was Louis who took the victory this time around, and we're not really surprised by that, are we? Yeah, definitely indeed. It should be exciting for all these guys. For some reason, my friends list is deciding it doesn't want to load and it doesn't want to let me invite most people in. I think we have got Verhan heading in at least. It did show him up, but it's decided that that might be it for tonight. So, apologies for those of you who wanted to hear from Louis. I'll see if I can pop him on ad. It all seems to have fixed himself, so we'll wait and see if we can get a few of these drivers in this session. But Louis, he must have been a bit nervous after going onto those intermediate tyres for the second time and then seeing it stop raining.
I think they've just joined the party, Luke.
Hopefully now things will be able to get back to normal. We have got the first and second place just joining now. It was Louis who took the victory. Verhan in second position. We just wait now for everything to settle together. Same 1-2 as we've had for the last 2 races. Well, last 3 races now, actually. And Louis, you had to pit in the end for a second set of intermediate tyres and then it stopped raining. Did that make you a tiny bit nervous? Not sure if I'm coming through properly here. Louis, you had a great win again today, but you had to pit twice compared to lots of the others pitting once, especially for the second intermediate tyres, and then it stopped raining. Did that make you a bit worried about what was happening?
I don't think he can hear you.
That is a shame. I'll try and see what is... try and sort this all out in the background. We've got Verhan here, so we'll start with Verhan. Just confirm, Verhan, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
Good indeed. So,
Louis here, I think.
Hello?
Louis? Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Wait, could you not hear me?
No.
None of you?
No.
No.
Oh, I was just answering the question, like talking to myself.
Well, you should be
You're
well
probably
practiced.
mute. I don't even know.
You should be well
the
practiced.
mic-
Like your race.
the
You're
mic
racing
wasn't-
against yourself.
The mic wasn't muted and it was plugged in, but the symbol come up saying the microphone wasn't connected.
So can you possibly ask that question again? Obviously, a lot of people have heard it a few times now, so you probably. So yeah, were you a bit nervous when you saw people the dry conditions getting a lot better as you went on to the second set of inters?
Yeah, it's quite annoying, but I think my tyres were at 60% when I pitted, so I just thought it'd be best to pit, and I knew I had the pace in the wet, so I thought I could overtake him quite, not easily, but not too hard of a fight either.
It definitely was a great first few laps for yourself, where you built that pace up. And were you aiming for the fastest lap in the final few laps? Because there were a few drivers outside the top 10 who put the soft tyres on to try and stop you, and I think for about one lap at least, Jonathan Cox did take it off you, but you ended up getting it back in the end.
Yeah, I set a lap, and then I think the next couple of laps I had DRS from a lap car, but I didn't really get to set a quicker lap for some reason, even with the two massive straights.
Yeah, it worked out fantastically here. So 3 wins out of 3 races. You must be looking forward to Kota next weekend.
Yeah, I think it's a good track for me, so hopefully can get another win.
Yes, we'll see. I'm sure that's exactly what Furhan wanted to hear. So congratulations again, Louis. 3 wins out of 3. We'll have to see next time around whether you can make it 4 out of 4. And Furhan, you must be pretty relieved to get yourself back up to second after that contact at the start.
I don't know what happened. I got a hit from behind. I think from Alan or Glock. I don't know. Someone hit me.
Yeah, I think Jess said it might have been one of the Haas of Paulie.
Well, it might be one of the Hasses that I saw. I was riding on board, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to look back at my clips later on. But I'm sure it was one of the Hasses that probably touched a few of the drivers, but we don't know.
It could have been Glock, because Glock did pit on lap 1 with some damage, so it may well have been Glock.
Yeah.
But there's so many cars going into turn 1, especially in the intermediate conditions, you wouldn't have known what to expect. And I saw you pulling into the pits for your dry tyres. How close do you think you were to a puncture? Because Koala was the only driver who went longer than you.
I had the puncture.
Did you?
You did have one?
Yeah, I had the puncture.
When did you get that? What roughly where on the track?
I think... I don't know.
It was so long ago. You don't know.
In the happen, I got a puncture.
Oh, so not that long away.
Yeah. I was lucky.
I know. I did see you coming into the pits, and the intermediates did look very bold indeed. Are you planning to give a phone call to Louis' internet company then to try and stop him making it 4 out of 4 next week?
I'm good in USA as well, but Louis is too fast, so what can I do?
Or you're going to hope that he misses qualifying next week?
Yeah, I hope.
He nearly missed it this week, but he just scraped through.
I was alongside Louis, and I was thinking, okay, I overtake him now in Q1, yeah? And then I got a hit. I was so angry.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Started shouting in German.
I mean, Loney obviously did the right thing to do. If you get a jump start, just go with it and floor it, and that's definitely the tactic I'd go for. But well done to the top 2 tonight. Louis with another victory, Furhan with second place. Great performance from the both of you.
Thanks.
And Jess, Kota's always a fun track, always provides lots of acid, especially after the hairpin at turn 11, heading down through that stadium-like complex that you've got at Hockenheim, where it's pretty much a carbon copy. There's always lots of overtaking around there, and it should be a good race.
Yeah, I would say from like turns 10 and 11 onwards, I think we'll probably see some overtakes. There's also the hairpin in turn 14 and 15 and 16 as well. We possibly could see potential overtakes as well. And another track where these guys have got to keep it clean to avoid a penalty. So with a few races left, there's only a few chances for some of these guys to climb their way in the championship to score some decent points, of course, and only a few chances for Renault to claw back on the Red Bull, because you never know when the season can just end on you. But yeah, it was a brilliant race tonight, and well done to the top two. Well done to the top three, actually, for some great performances there.
Yeah, it was another great performance. Obviously, we had both Will and Louis getting the win and Koala getting into 4th place. Will they be able to continue their good form next time around in America at COTA? You'll have to find out. Same time, same place, same commentators, myself and Jess will be taking through that again. Thanks to Mixed Energy and Player One Coffee, our sponsors, who you can check out in the description. And thanks also to you guys for watching. We will see you next time around at America. Good night.